My soul is shining from the light in my heart as I praise my Lord right from the start. Tears of joy overflowing from my eyes. All the pain in the past was a blessing in disguise. In the middle of the night, I will supplicate to you. As darkness fills the room, the prayers make me feel brand new. Tranquility, the break of dawn comes too soon. Belief in your mercy makes me feel I'll never lose. أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brother Gareth, you there, man?
Yeah, I'm here. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, we was having some technical difficulties, so in the meantime, we were playing the promos of Beto Jama and Muslim peer services as well while we were waiting.
I mean, listen, ain't nothing like free. Ain't nothing like free publicity.
MashaAllah.
You can get some promos in.
Absolutely. And we had a little hiccup at the beginning anyway, man. It was playing from the wrong page and this, that, and the third.
Oh wow! Listen, you know what Allah says. Allah is the best of planners, so it is what it is.
That's what I said. So, all right, so let's open this up, inshallah. So it's alhamdulillah. Man, so إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. So just to open up with the subject, inshallah, since we start a little bit late, we're going to jump right into it. That's okay with you, brother?
Nah, that's all right.
Mashallah. So we're going to talk about today. We're going to be, I guess we're myth busters today, right? So we're going to be busting the myth.
Since our good sisters dubbed us that, yeah.
Mashallah. We're busting the myth on the Ramadan Muslim. So tell me, what is the Ramadan Muslim and where did that even come from?
I mean, we got to keep this as Islamically PG as possible,
right?
But it seems like it's definitely something that the Muslim Afro-American community kind of like incepted. There's no other origin that I know of it other than from us, because we're the only people that I've actually heard use that term, quote unquote, Ramadan Muslim. For obvious reasons, is a very dismissive, divisive, apathetic, gaslighting, demeaning type of term. And with the assumption is that a person isn't, quote unquote, seen or known in the community, or people haven't been able to earmark the activities of a person in a community until they pull up during Ramadan. But we don't know anyone's individual conditions, right? And most of us don't even have the resources to even help the other. Most of us don't even have enough empathy to help the other religio spiritually. But yet we think and feel that we have the entitlement or the justification to label someone a quote-unquote Ramadan Muslim, or a quote-unquote Eid Muslim, or a quote-unquote Jum'ah Muslim. It's like, yo, give people credit for trying. Give people credit for some effort, because like I tell people all the time, it's easy to judge people when our sins aren't public knowledge. The easiest thing for us to do is to be judgmental. And judgmentalism, al-hasad, literally comes from a shaitan. This is why Allah commands us more than once in the Quran, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطَوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ, and don't follow the footsteps of Satan. Al-hasad, judgmentalism, is literally from amal al-shaytan. It's from the work of a shaitan. It's from the work of Satan. So when we're judgmental against people by labeling them quote unquote Ramadan Muslims, that literally puts us upon the minhaj of a shaitan. It puts us upon the methodology of Satan. And all of us are guilty of this from time to time.
Yeah.
So we have to be very cautious, and we have to safeguard our iman, particularly, specifically during the month of Ramadan, and we have to caution ourselves to not be judgmental against people.
Let me ask you this, because like you said, we've all been, kind of guilty of this. The rights of a person, and rights of individuals and even whole nations. Like we have an issue of, grouping people together, even saying, not even the Ramadan Muslim title, any title. Let's say you're going, we might go to the corner store and these particular brothers are selling beer and cigarettes and all of that. You say, this is how these particular people are, whether it's Yemeni or, Palestinian, whatever it is, these groups of people are. Do these people, they also have rights over us? And I believe, also that, there will be some type of reckoning for that, lumping people together and just saying like these groups of people are this or that. They may be able to, take from your good deeds on the day of judgment, because of these situations.
That's true, because it's all oppression. All of it is azulm. All of it is oppression. And one of the things that the Prophet mentioned, one of the things that Muhammad mentioned, he said, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of standing, will be a dark day for countless people. And he explained the reason how and why it will be a dark day is because anyone whom oppressed anyone, they will be mandated by Allah on the spot to forfeit portions of their positive actions. And if they run out of positive actions, or if they ain't never pull up to the day of standing with any positive actions, they will be mandated to accept portions of the negative actions of those whom they oppress. And we ask Allah to protect us from being the oppressor.
Ameen.
And we ask Allah to make us of those who are protected from forfeiting any of our positive actions of the day of standing. And we ask Allah to protect us from being of those who have to accept any portion of anyone else's negative actions.
Ameen. That's a fact. I can't afford to give away nothing. So I'm right there with you on that one. So I would say, mashallah, listen, man, I already know, but one of the questions that I see that keep coming up constantly is like one of those things. What do you say to a person that has not prayed all year long, and then when Ramadan comes, he prays the five, or he shows up, for the iftar and stuff like that, and they usually go the hardest at the Eids. You know what I mean? So what do you say about a person like that? Some people say, ask the question, are they even Muslim? To a degree.
I'm going to answer. I'm going to choose to answer that question this way. Number one, we know the statement of Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said, whomever dies with their last statement of being La ilaha illallah will be secured from the fire. That's number one. Number two, Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, the strong believer is superior and more beloved to Allah as opposed to the weak believer, but there's still positivity within them both. This narration teaches us two things. It teaches us at-tawadi', humility, and it teaches us ar-raja, hope. In terms of at-tawadi', only Allah knows whom the righteous are. Only Allah knows who possesses true iman and those who possess nifaq, hypocrisy, or who possesses weak iman. Only Allah knows this, because these are affairs of the heart, and only Allah knows the most intimate affairs of the heart, unless a person actually discloses what's in their heart, which isn't very commonplace. And then in terms of ar-raja, it gives us confidence that Allah is completely capable and completely able to give us the tools of empowerment for us to arrive at a tahseen, improvement. And none of us have an Islamic entitlement or Islamic justification to cut anyone off at the path to prevent them from arriving to a tahseen. One of the best examples is two narrations that are mentioned via Al-Bukhari the mass murderer and the prostitute. Both of these persons were Muslims prior to the revelation of the Quran. And the ahadith, the narrations about them are very graphic and descriptive. Like they were really outside with it. Mm-hmm. They were really out here living their best lives. But guess what? They did things at the ends of their lives that Allah was so pleased with that Allah immediately gave them al-rahmah, mercy, al-maghfirah, forgiveness, al-afiyah, pardon. Mm-hmm. And here's the irony about Ramadan. Amongst the countless benefits and blessings that we can receive during the month of Ramadan, the number one blessing is that Allah has placed all of us who are Muslims, regardless of whether we're fasting or not, regardless of what we're doing or not, every single Muslim, regardless of our maqam, our station, pre-Ramadan or post-Ramadan, during the 29 or 30 days of Ramadan, every single Muslim on the face of the earth, in that moment in time, are religio-spiritual equals of one another. And I'm going to quantify that. I'm going to prove that. Because during the month of Ramadan, guaranteed, every single Muslim wants three things from Allah, either directly or indirectly. Every single Muslim seeks from Allah, either directly or indirectly, three things. Those three things are what I've aforementioned. Al-Rahmah, mercy, Al-Maghfirah, forgiveness, Al-Afiyah, pardon. And may Allah make us of those who receive all three.
Ameen. That's what's up. And I would say, even go to even touch on, something else other than that, is to go on, like, when we see those Muslims who are in there, who come, like you said, we only see them during the month of Ramadan and stuff like that. And by calling them or shunning them in that regard, by calling them Ramadan Muslim or other than that, like you said, Jumu'ah to Jumu'ah Muslim or whatever Muslim that these people choose to categorize people as, what does that do to the psychology of that person? What do you think, what does that do? It
breaks them down. It isolates them. It alienates them. It makes them feel like they don't belong. Mm-hmm. Like Ramadan makes us very much religio-spiritually hypersensitive, right? Mm. And and this happens to all of us, because Ramadan is such a special time of the year. And a lot of us, we fumble everyone else's good time. Mm. Mm. Yeah. And it's all because of al-hasad. It's all because of judgmentalism and hateration and envy and all that. Mm. And human beings are haters by nature. You got some people. No, for real. I got you. The jinn and the human, we're haters by nature. Mm. Mm-hmm. Like what? How and why do you think Allah says in the Quran, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, and humanity was created flawed? Humanity was created weak. Mm-hmm. One of our flaws, one of our weaknesses is al-hasad, judgmentalism, hateration, envy. We're haters by nature. Mm-hmm. And like you have some of us, we don't want anyone else to get benefit from Allah except ourselves. You have some people, they don't want any good for anyone else except ourselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like it's so easy for a Muslim. I mean, well, regardless whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, a human being, period. It's so easy for a human to be an apath. It's so human. It's so natural for a human being to be narcissistic. Mm. It's so easy for a human being to be a gaslighter, to be careless, to not care about anyone except themselves. It's so easy. Like it's literally part of our nature. It's part of our fitrah. And we have to fight against that on a daily. And the Ramadan was given to us by Allah as a tool to help to sift that from our souls, to strip us from that. That's literally one of the purposes of Ramadan, is to strip us and filter us from our own negativity. The negativity that we actually enjoy doing. The negativity that we actually have a love for doing. The negativity that we're actually addicted to. That's the purpose of Ramadan. It's a filtering process. And speaking of that, another Ramadan myth is that you have Muslims, unfortunately, they've allowed themselves to think and feel that they have to, quote unquote, be super religious during Ramadan. No. We have to do what we know we need to do for us as individuals. Ramadan is, even though it's a communal thing because Muslims around the world are doing it, we have to put the focus, we have to shed the limelight on our own character and behavior. Because just like Allah says in the Quran, those who believe pay attention. Upon you are yourselves. Ramadan is a selfish time of the year. And every single human being has been given the Islamic mandate and the Islamic justification to be selfish. Now, going back to the difference between apathy and selfishness, unfortunately, too many people, they confuse selfishness and apathy as though they're two sides of the same coin, when in fact they're respectively very different. They're mutually exclusive. Apathy means that someone doesn't care about anyone except themselves. Selfishness means that someone cares about themselves firstly. And again, going back to what I mentioned in chapter 5, verse 105 from Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter of the Grail, Allah commands us to be selfish. Allah says, those who believe pay attention, upon you are yourselves. And the best non-revelatory analogy to what Allah says is when you're in an airplane and you're experiencing violent turbulence and immediately the air mask plop down. What's the first instruction that they tell you? Put your own mask
Put
on
your own
first.
mask on, right?
Because if you can't breathe, how the hell are you gonna help somebody else to breathe? Like, it defies basic intelligence. So likewise, Ramadan is our turbulence from 4,000 feet in the air, from a mile high. We are all on Ramadan Airways right now. We all on Ramadan Airlines right now. we all in the same airplane. And from the first day of Ramadan to the 29th or 30th day of Ramadan, we are constantly, consistently in turbulence. and those oxygen masks that come from the roof of our seats, those air masks are al-Rahmah, al-Maghfirah, al-Afiyah. But we gotta get ours first before we help someone else get theirs. So that's how I'm gonna answer that.
That's a good answer. And I would say, bringing it back to, what we do as peer supporters and therapists and things of that nature. When we talking about going into Ramadan, we're talking about basically recovery. We're talking about basically recovery. When we're talking about recovering from all of the negative and all the nonsense that we were doing during the whole year, this is what some of us come into that. And we have to change, our environments. We have to change the way that we do things. We have to change, or enhance some of the things that we know that we were supposed to be doing during the year, like reading more Quran, like not only going to study, giving more charity, like, we amp up certain things that we know we're supposed to be doing. And the things that we're not supposed to be doing, we kind of want to come back and, get away from those things. So we talk about people, places, and things like we do when we talk about even with people who are addicted to drugs and or substances, or even addicted to the dunya. It's those things that you have to try to get away from some of those people and places of things who are negative around you. Like, you see ourselves, like, we try to fast around those who do some of the same things. If you were smoking weed during the year and drinking during the year, even if you were doing it around people who are Muslim, now all of a sudden you can't, get into the fast. Like, yo, I'm gonna hang around these dudes during a certain time and then, and try to fast. Like, we have some of our brothers, and may Allah forgive them, who have girlfriends during the month of Ramadan. And it's like, okay, well, I can't come visit you during the month of Ramadan, but I'll come check you out when the 30th day is over. Like, they have reservations, and I believe, it all kind of correlates to recovery. And you have to speak that, you have to, speak and live out that what you really want to see. You gotta, who said that? Was it?
You got to speak it into existence.
Yeah, right, speak it into existence. What I think it was either the Dalai Lama or whoever it was like, be the change that you want to see, right?
Oh yeah, Gandhi said that. Gandhi said, "Be the change that
Gandhi
you want to
said it.
see."
Yeah, be the change that you
Yeah.
want to see in the world. Right. So
But
those.
even prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
Allah makes the best statement. We know the best speech is
The
the
book of
book of
Allah.
Allah, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Allah literally says, in chapter 13, verse 11, Allah says, "Verily, Allah doesn't change what's within any people until they change what's within themselves."
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a definite fact, and that's what I was saying. Like, what when we're talking about these things and all of these myths and all of these things that come along with not only Ramadan but in general, we also
But
have
particularly during Ramadan, right?
particularly during Ramadan. Those are the things that sort of it kind of rubs me the wrong way. I can't speak for everybody, but that sort of stuff rubs me the wrong way when someone says, oh, okay, well, this brother ain't been doing such and such the whole year. Now he just shows up, I'm like, you should be happy to see him. MashaAllah. He's trying to rectify some situations. You should be happy to see that brother. Embrace him. Maybe the reason why he left was because of the attitude of the people,
Yeah. Like, honestly, it'd be us who drive people away. Even though we know, particularly, right, we know that there's zero Islamic justification to do certain things or to not do certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that. At the same time, we also know and or should know that we are obligated to not make a person's condition worse.
No.
Even if we can't provide the person with tools of empowerment, don't disempower the person even further.
Mm.
Like for example, right? We know that it's impossible for us to make someone happy. We have to make ourselves happy.
Right.
But damn it, don't make somebody miserable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm-hmm.
and we do that far too often.
Mm-hmm.
And then we think it's okay.
Yeah. That's definitely true. That is definitely true. So it's like, what kind of advice do we give these individuals? Because we want to, like you said, empower the people who this has been done to, and I would say it's, especially those of us who are in the masjid frequently or around places frequently. When you see those brothers, man, embrace them, man. Make them feel that it's, it's normal, to be around, and you miss them and you love them and stuff like that. We can't be those who shun them, because I was just reading a study recently about in Chicago when he was talking about they did I forgot how many Muslims they surveyed, but it was a survey of some Muslims in Chicago, and they were talking about some of the young people under the age of 25 or what's name that were considering who had mental health issues, and they were considering suicide. And they asked them, why were you considering suicide? And it was like, because if we go talk to the people in our masjid about that, they shun us, or they say that we're crazy, or if we're dealing with something, they push us outside the community where we, now we feel isolated. And when you get along with your devils, we know what happens, so we have to be very mindful about what we say and how we treat people.
Treating people is, the way we treat people is going to be very weighty in the eyes of Allah, because we know Muhammad, peace on him, he mentioned, he said, character will weigh heaviest on the scales.
Mm-hmm.
We got to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
He said that word for word. He said character will weigh heaviest on the scales.
Not only that, what he said, what did Islam come to do?
Correct. He said, verily, I've only come to correct character. He literally said that word for word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And character is, some of us, we have bad character. I own that. Some of us. I'm just speaking, like they say in therapy, keep it on the eye, right? I can only talk about myself. And I'm saying, I have some deficiencies and some faults and stuff that we try, and I'm trying, alhamdulillah, to work on. And I think that's what it's all about. Even like we said, bringing it even back to the treatment part of it, and how we treat our brothers and sisters, and the peer support part of it, is that you have to not only acknowledge and meet people where they are, you have to keep, give them safe spaces to be able to want to open up and talk to you. Because it's a lot of times, like, there's one particular brother that we spoke to in the masjid, I think, that we talking about 2 weeks ago. The young brother suffering from bipolar, he just accepted Islam. bipolar disorder.
Oh no, remember I wasn't there.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. You wasn't there that week. SubhanAllah. Yeah. So we were talking about, for this particular brother, he's suffering. So he's going through certain things, and SubhanAllah, he went through some stuff where he didn't get a chance to eat, and he was running around, and we know not taking his he didn't take his medication because he couldn't get in the house because he got locked out because he acted up because he didn't have his medication. So now the spiral starts. So now in the morning you asking yourself, well, he's supposed to be fasting. It's the month of Ramadan. Now you got to feed that cat, man. He can't be, he can't be walking around like that. We have to really be, and
we have zero respect for the condition of the other.
And that's what it is, man. But alhamdulillah, I didn't have any doubts, but it was early in the morning when the brother had called me. So I called, our resident sheikh, Sheikh Akbar, right?
Yeah.
Hassan Akbar. So I called him. I'm like, yo, man, this and this happens. And he gave me some good advice. He said, listen, man, especially when they're new Muslims, you got to be, very careful about how you, treat these particular people, especially if they're dealing with some mental disorders. And think about it. When we're taught to do treatment, we're taught automatically to assume trauma, right? So, you have to assume that the other person is going through some type of trauma. And whether it's spiritual trauma, whether it's physical, any type of trauma. And I think, in my belief, that I really believe that we should actually, when we look at anyone, we should already automatically assume good when we see them. Automatically assume that, listen, if they're eating during the month of Ramadan, first thing you should think is, well, look, maybe they have a sickness. You should give them the excuse. They're sick, or maybe they have something else going on, or maybe they were starving at night and this is the first thing they ate in 2 days. You give them those excuses instead of blaming. We don't
want to give nobody excuses.
Yeah,
we don't even want to give one excuse. To give 70 excuses. And the irony is that phrase 70 excuses it's a linguistic euphemism for something unlimited, an unlimited amount of excuses.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But like, for example, when Muhammad, peace be upon him, mentioned about the case of Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, one of the leaders of the hypocrites, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whom one of their sons, ironically, ended up becoming Muslim. But Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul died as a disbeliever. He died as a hypocrite, right?
Right.
So when he died, Allah sent revelation via the Quran concerning his case. And Allah specifically mentioned, even if you seek forgiveness for them 70 times, I will not forgive them. And then upon revealing this, Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, I will ask more than 70 times. But the reason why Allah used that term 70 was to indicate, because obviously Allah knows everything, among the Arabs, they developed this concept of 70 being a euphemism for an unlimited amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Something you can't enumerate. That's why Allah used that, to let them know that there's no way that Allah is going to give this person a pass and forgive them because of what they died upon, right? So with that being said, that's why the concept makes give your brother 70 excuses exists, right? Now, contrary to popular opinion, that term, give your brother 70 excuses, it doesn't come from the Sunnah. It's implied directly via the Sunnah. It's implied, but that term itself doesn't come from the Sunnah. There's two people who are given credit to coining this term. One of these persons is Ja'far ibn Muhammad, the great-great-grandson of Ali ibn Imran. He was the teacher at Ja'far ibn Muhammad was the teacher of Malik ibn Anas and An-Nu'man ibn Thabit at one point in Al-Madinah. Mm-hmm. And then the other person that is accredited to is the scholar who is most lauded and most respected in terms of dream interpretation from amongst the Salaf, Muhammad ibn Sirin. So be that as it may, regardless, that we know that term, that concept is valid, right? Even though in name it wasn't conceptualized via the Sunnah, but in terms of principle, it exists through the Sunnah. So anyway, we don't do that. We don't give each other 70 excuses because it takes too much principle, and it takes too much integrity, and it takes too much morality for us to give people 70 excuses. It's easy for us to just default and just throw people under the bus. It's easy for us to backbite people. It's easy for us to slander people.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes courage. It actually takes courage to give someone 70 excuses.
Yeah.
We don't display that type of courage on a daily basis. And that's a problem.
That's a serious problem. And I agree with you, because it not only takes courage to do that, you have to think about it this way. If you start giving people excuses and you want to know what the issue is, that causes you to get involved, which is also
that forces you to care.
Yeah, it forces you to care and to want to get involved with your brother, which takes time and effort, which a lot of us, don't want to do. And it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming, but a lot of us, really don't want to do it, And like I said, just to bring it back to, to what we do.
Because again, like I said, we hate it by nature.
Man, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, to bring it back to what we do, we, inshallah, this is what we're trying to promote at Muslim Peer Services is bringing that sunnah of being, of bringing that back to, wanting for your brother what you want for yourself and those ideas. Like Amr, he was one of those who, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was one of those who, he had asked the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about, who do you love the most? That was him, right?
Right.
So he asked, like, who do you love the most? And he was one of those who used to attack the Muslims. But when he accepted Islam, he had asked this question because the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam treated him after he accepted Islam.
Right.
And they would talk about, even to the point where, now check this, this is what's so profound, and this is what got.
Wait, who was the companion? I forgot the name. You said which companion?
It's Amr, Ibn al-As.
Oh yeah, Amr Ibn al-As. Right, yeah.
Ibn al-As, yeah. So it was him who had made that when he asked, and then of course at the end, he wasn't the most beloved to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Went from Aisha, to Abu Bakr, and then so on and so forth. But my point was that when that came, when that was said and he asked that question, the reason why he asked it was because the way the Prophet
was treated so well.
He was treated so well. And they talk about how the Prophet used to stare, like when you used to talk to the Prophet, it felt like you was the only one in the room. You could be surrounded by people, but they talk about how he used to face the people. This is what they teach us. It's like, you face the people, you square up to the person, you give the eye contact. You show that you actually care about my situation. Everything else is, I'm oblivious to everything else, And when it came even to his family, the Prophet ﷺ used to show that type of focus also.
That type of rifq, that type of empathy. Yeah,
exactly. So the only time he didn't show that is when the adhan was called. He said, then it didn't even seem like nobody existed. Once the call of prayer was called, he was
on a different type of time.
Right. Everybody else could kick rocks then. But when he came into he was part of that. He made you feel like not only am I part of the community, I'm here for it, and I'm here for it all. And this is part of that, what we want to do for everyone here, and everyone out in the community. This way, we all should be that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, for example, just like the companion Abdullah, who was nicknamed Himar, right? And the reason why he was nicknamed Himar is because he was a jokester. He was like the Dave Chappelle of the companions. And he was literally one of the best friends of the Prophet. He always made the Prophet laugh. Always. But he had one classic flaw. He was a pathological, chronic substance abuser. He was a drunkard. And he was known to be like white girl wasted in public. And people would scold him. They would punish him. They would berate him, all these things.
No.
And one day they came to the Prophet, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, was addressing this issue, and they started to curse him. They started to belittle him. And Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, do not belittle this man, because I know for a fact that he loves Allah and his messenger.
That's right.
And guess what happened? After the death of Muhammad, peace be upon him, he got clean.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he never went back to al-khamriyah. He never went back to substance abuse after that.
SubhanAllah. And you see,
people deserve time to grow.
Absolutely.
People deserve a chance to evolve. We have to give people that bara, that agency to evolve on their own time and on their own terms. We're not Islamically entitled or justified to want or expect people to evolve and improve when we want them to improve. No. Self-improvement is self-improvement for a reason. Self-improvement, it has to be individualistic. That individual has to want a tahseen improvement. That individual person has to work towards improvement. It doesn't mean that we don't help them, but they got to do the groundwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same thing like I said, these are life things. When we talk about Islam, we're talking about a lifestyle that encompasses everything.
Exactly. It's a deen. It's a lifestyle,
Absolutely.
right? It's not. But you have to remember, certain people, they have to get there.
Right.
They have to really get and even us who consider ourselves on the level. All of us ain't really on time in the way we supposed to be. It's just that it's like what I always tell people. It's easy to judge people when our sins are in public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. It's easy to say, oh, look at that person who ain't got no beard, or look at that person who ain't praying. Look at that person who ain't fasting. Look at that person who ain't wearing hijab properly. Meanwhile, we in the trap house with the hoes. Make that make sense.
Right. Or we bringing hoes to the masjid. Right.
Literally.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not a joke. That's serious.
It's not a metaphor. It's not a euphemism. Yeah. It's real life.
Subhanallah. And you're right.
We the same ones in the crap house, in the trap house, in the club, and this and that and the third, and we wanna try to pseudo elevate ourselves as a pseudo justification to turn our nose up and look down on other people. Who are we? How dare we?
Subhanallah.
Like, who do we actually think we are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No doubt. Subhanallah, this has been a very good discussion. If we had started on time, I think we'd have got deeper or kicked off Facebook, one or the other.
Right. I mean, again, Allah is the best of planners. So that's how that goes.
Yeah, it went the way it was supposed to, man. Barakallah feek, man. I appreciate you.
Feek barakallah.
All right, we're gonna close this out, but before we do, like we said, we have Sister Jamila who's here. I don't know if she was able to see what was going on, but we did play the entire Beit Jama promo video that we shot before for the fundraiser. Alhamdulillah.
Now, trust me, if she didn't see it, she'd have cursed us out in Espanol.
No. She didn't know he's gonna do it. Mashallah, is one of those things. It was one of those things that it's like we usually do that at the beginning, and sometimes it's crunch time, or we have so many guests where we can't talk enough about the ones who sponsored us and who back us, in all things. And full disclosure, full disclosure, not to, we talking about giving people their flowers and things of that nature. Her and her husband has been there for me and my family plenty of times, whether, officially or unofficially doing business or not doing business, and it has to be said also with the sister Zainab Abdurrahim of MWI. We not only talking about, peer support and therapy and all of these different things. We live this, alhamdulillah, we live this. Like, where one of us needs something, we're the first to come to each other's aid, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, all of us.
That's the way it's always supposed to be.
Yes. Subhanallah. And like you said, with the subject, busting the myth of the Ramadan Muslim, like we say, it doesn't matter for us how, if we see each other fall off, we pick each other up. And that's what we're supposed to do. Like, you always had a saying of, you don't look down on people unless you're sticking out your hand to pick them up, And
right.
And that's really what we're trying to do at Muslim Peer Services. That's what's being done at Beit Jama, and that's what's also being done at MWI. That's what's being done by Gareth Bryant. And we want to say it, if the people don't know, this brother's being awarded, subhanallah. And well, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you should talk about it. It's a huge accomplishment that our brothers in the community doing this thing and holding us down and representing Islam in the right way. And people should know. Just give us a little bit of details of what that is, brother.
Well, I mean, basically, by Allah's mercy, I was chosen to be recognized and honored by. I was chosen to be recognized and honored by Nassau County government via an iftar event scheduled for April 2nd, this April 2nd, pertaining to my contributions to community via my chaplaincy work.
Hmm.
So someone who I know very well, who's a Muslim who works for Nassau County government, they put the bid in for me to be recognized, and may Allah reward that person. Ameen.
Ameen.
Sister Aruj Islam, may Allah reward her. Ameen.
Ameen.
She put my bid in to be recognized and honored for my work in community, in terms of like my chaplaincy, like how I work at NYU Langone and Mineola in Long Island, Nassau County, and plus my other various chaplaincy efforts, my other chaplaincy work. Nassau County has chosen to recognize and honor my work with an iftar event ceremony. So I gave Rashawn the details of it. I mean, it's an iftar that's open to the public. Y'all can pull up if y'all want to, if y'all have the time or what have you. But the point is that I'm grateful that Allah has chosen and selected me for this work. And again, like I said, I had zero idea that I was even earmarked by Nassau County government, like in terms of my work. But like I said, Allah is the best of planners. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely grateful to Allah for that opportunity to be recognized and respected. Most importantly, respected for my work. So that's something very meaningful for me.
Yeah, it's stuff we don't really talk about, right? Like, you know, we've gone on trips to Philly together, and I seen this brother on the run in between restaurants giving marital advice. People stop him in the middle of the street. We supposed to meet up at places, and he's doing counseling in between whatever he's doing. He stops, and like I said, I don't want to blow anybody's blessings or back out. But alhamdulillah, just know that when you see these particular people, especially that are affiliated with us, we really, like what the young people say, we really about that life. We about that action. Is that correct? Or am I old, too old to say that?
Nah, we never too old to admit that we really like that.
That's all.
We really like that.
Right. So when you see the flag of Beto Jamaat, we were just out in the projects. If not yesterday, on Friday, he's on the projects doing it. The pop up in the Amazon giveaways. They're the only organizations that I know. I saw an organization on TV that's like, oh, we all over Staten Island. I've never seen these people, and I'm like, I live here and I've never seen these people. But when you come to the hood, Beto Jamaat is there. When we talking about giving, giving therapy and going out of your way, not only, paid or unpaid, the sisters right from MWI are making that happen. You know what I mean? And they're doing
Muslim sisters of Staten Island, everybody. Yeah.
Right. MashaAllah. Muslim sisters of Staten Island.
Muslims giving back, all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. We all about that life, man. And I think if we get it together one day and actually make a big movement, man, we could make a big dent in this community, inshallah. And one thing
that's what Muslim Peer Services is about. Like we basically trying to start a halal cartel.
There it is. MashaAllah. All right, let's close it out, man. We already 7 minutes over. And I just want to shout out my baby girl who was on here. Now she's not. Maybe she left early. My oldest daughter, man. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide her, man. I love that girl so much, man. She was on.
Ameen. MashaAllah. May Allah accept. Ameen. Ameen.
All right, let's close it out, man. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Ameen.
Ameen.
Thank y'all so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Have a good day, man. Assalamu alaikum.
Yo, you too, man.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching our video. Please subscribe, like, and share at Muslim Peer Services. Assalamu alaikum.